You may think critics and moviegoers rarely agree, but that's not the case. More often than not, user reviews from Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, CinemaScore, social media, and general word of mouth are fairly close to what the critics posted. But increasingly, it seems the gap is widening. Welcome to Binge TV, and today we'll be going over our picks for the top 10 movies that critics and fans did not agree on. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to turn notifications on for more videos like this one. Without further ado, let's begin. 10th place, The Upside. The Upside came in theaters with a surprise hit. Critics were never on board with the film, and its current 40% rating on Rotten Tomatoes is even less than the 47% Cinema Blend had predicted. But it got an A cinema score and a very high 87% audience score. However, it only has a 5.5 rating on IMDb, and that's from 4,810 users, which is more users than Rotten Tomatoes. CinemaScore surveys moviegoers, and they loved Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart's film. 9th place, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Fantastic Beasts movie is an interesting case in that it's technically a success for Warner Brothers, as it's one of their top-grossing movies of 2018, but it was a disappointment overall compared to the first film in the franchise. Critics and moviegoers were pretty closely aligned when it came to Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Critics gave it 74% and fans 79%, and it did very well at the box office. The second movie was liked a lot less by both groups, but the critics went way low, while the fans were more measured in their ratings. Grindelwald also made a lot less money at the box office, more than $100 million less worldwide. It got a B+ cinema score, whereas it got a 6.8 IMDb rating. 8th place, Bohemian Rhapsody. Many critics groaned when Bohemian Rhapsody recently won the Golden Globe for Best Picture Drama. Rami Malek has earned universal praise, but fans love the movie, and not only giving it a high Rotten Tomatoes audience score, but also a solid A cinema score and a very high 8.3 user rating at IMDb. The film has also taken the box office by storm, and it looks like Rami Malek has a decent shot at an Oscar, which will lift the film to even greater heights. Rotten Tomatoes critics scored it 62% fresh, 6.1 out of 10. 7th place, Bad Boys 2. There's an insane 2.5 disparity between the critical average and IMDb average scores, with the press largely dismissing the buddy cop film as a mindless action fest, while audiences have mostly praised it for the same precise reasons. Is it grossly overlong at 147 minutes? Absolutely. But is it a lot of fun? Undeniably. It's got insane action, ridiculous dialogue, and Will Smith and Martin Lawrence at the peak of their banter game, so it's easy to see how audiences generally dug it. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a score of 4.1, whereas IMDb scored it 6.6. 6th place, Peppermint. Critics were very sour on Peppermint, with just 12% fresh, but fans embraced Jennifer Garner's vigilante film with 74% and a B+ rating. IMDb users averaged it out again. It's a critic's job to critique a movie, and it goes with the title, so it does make sense when critics are harsher with movies that they feel have weak scripts or wasted potential. But it's clear audiences either disagree on those metrics or set different standards, so it's always interesting to see how things play out. 5th place, Law-Abiding Citizen. Law-Abiding Citizen had a more than 3.0 difference between critical and audience scores. Law-Abiding Citizen is a ludicrously enjoyable piece. Though audiences seem to enjoy the increasingly barmy plot twists and Gerard Butler's scenery-devouring performance, critics largely eviscerated it for the very same reasons. It's the movie that might be the most deserving of a critical re-evaluation. Rotten Tomatoes scored it 4.3, whereas IMDb scored it 7.4. 4th place, Rampage. Rampage was closer than many of the others when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes. The movie got an A- cinema score and IMDb's 6.1 ratings. The Rampage IMDb rating is from 101,985 users, which is way more than the upside. Rotten Tomatoes users liked it more, but not by a huge amount. In terms of the box office, Rampage made $101 million at the domestic box office off a reported $120 million production budget. But it made up that money overseas, picking up $327 million internationally for a total of $428 million. Rotten Tomatoes critics scored the movie 51% fresh, 5.3 out of 10, and Rotten Tomatoes audience scored it 75%, 4 out of 5. Third place, Venom. Critics sniffed at Tom Hardy's Venom, but not only did fans around the world, especially China, embrace the film at the box office to more than $855 million, they also gave it high ratings. With Venom, the moviegoers polled at CinemaScore gave it a healthy B+, and the audience score at Rotten Tomatoes is a very healthy 84% from way more ratings than critical reviews. Over at IMDb, there are even more users weighing in, and they seem to split the difference a bit, giving Venom a mid to high rating of 6.8. Rotten Tomatoes critics score 28% fresh, average rating 4.4 out of 10 from 296 reviews. Second place, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. Zack Snyder's long-awaited superhero team-up movie was massively anticipated, and hearts were firmly broken when reviews came flooding out, deeming Batman vs. Superman mediocre at best. Alongside its disappointing 4.9 average scores, it garnered a mere 27% critical approval, which flies counter to its rather solid 6.6 audience score formed from over 500,000 viewer votes. The movie benefited from 20.9% of IMDb users giving it a 7 out of 10 rating, and it's important to remember that a decent chunk of these voters may well have watched the Ultimate Edition Blu-ray, which is a fairly solid improvement over the theatrical cut. Critics, meanwhile, generally ripped the cinema version apart. First place, Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi. Rian Johnson's Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi currently has the lowest audience score on Rotten Tomatoes of the entire Star Wars saga. Lucasfilm's second installment in their Star Wars sequel trilogy and the long-awaited 8th chapter in the Skywalker saga continues the story that started with J.J. Abrams' Star Wars Episode 7: The Force Awakens, and lays the foundation for the trilogy's conclusion in Abrams' Star Wars Episode 9. But audiences may not like where the franchise is heading. This may sound obvious, but the 4 Star Wars movies with tomato meter scores above 90% average a stellar $844 million at the domestic box office. A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi were money-making machines that were also critically beloved. The 7 movies with tomato meter scores below 90% have a $468 million average, which is still great, it just isn't $844 million. So what are your thoughts on these debatable movies? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, make sure to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for more.